Hey everybody, this is Ben.
And Nora.
Welcome back to the Midwest Model Shop. So before we get going today's episode, we're super excited because we got our next set of passengers in the mail. These came from Francis Lauren of Australia.
Sydney,
Australia. Yeah, and Francis wrote us a nice letter.
He sent us 4 beautiful ladies and a dog.
Yeah.
Little doggy.
Little doggy. Francis said, here's the pictures, 2 first-class ladies, a dog. Figures, sorry, yep. Actually, yeah, we got the 4 in here. And these turned out fantastic. We're super excited about these. He did a really nice job getting them packaged up and shipped over here. Really great job with the different colors. And these are really neat pieces. We're excited about them. We'll be featuring them on the build, obviously. And then he also decided that he was going to get the band back together again. So he said he went ahead and started painting the figures for the band, and he goes, you can't just paint one member of the band. Once you get started, the paint's already open. You just got to start. You got to keep painting. So, Francis, thank you very much. These are fantastic. They look outstanding. Really great use of different colors on the dresses. I don't think of these things. This is part of the reason why we've asked all of you to participate. We can see your creativity here with the figures, and it's really awesome. All right, so on to today's section of the build. Shorter-ish video. We want to explain to you how to go ahead and install the wooden decks on the ship if you're using wooden decks. I've explained how to do this on my Arizona video when I very first started out trying to figure this out. Then I went into it with some more detail on the Missouri video series, I think 3 times, because people kept saying, how do you install the wooden decks? And I'm like, nobody listens to me anymore, so I'm just going to have Nora do it. All right, everybody, so here are your 5 options that you have for decks. The first option is you can take your plastic deck and just paint it. The next option is your scaled decks, deck that is for the kit part, that's basically building it right out of the box. Then you've got your option over here, which is your KA deck. Then you have your scale decks option, which is the high detail set. This is if you're using the KA detail set, the Pontos high detail set, you're not building the kit out of the box, you could go with this option. And then you also have the Pontos deck option that if you have the Pontos detail set you could use as well. So those are really your 5 options for putting a wood deck on the ship. Now the first thing I want to talk about is the differences between scale decks and then the KA and Pontos. Obviously you could see that they have a different finish on them. Now I'm not going to go into a big detail about what the differences are in appearance and everything. If you go to Nigel's workbench, I'll put a description link down below. He does a great comprehensive breakdown of all the differences in the decks, and he does a little testing of the sealer that you put on with different finishes to show you what kind of results you could get there, and we'll talk about that in a second. Actually, no, we're going to talk about it right now. So the first thing you got to do once you've picked out your deck, no matter who you've picked out, you have to seal the deck before you put it on. You have to put a sealer on top of these things. So what I've chosen is Model Master's acrylic flat clear, and I've gone ahead and sprayed this already on my scale decks deck piece that we're going to be installing on the kit. That's this one right here. It's all dried up. As you can see, it looks very similar to the regular kit. This is unfinished and this is finished and sealed. So you have to do that regardless of which deck option you go with. All right, the next thing I want to talk about, let's just take these 2 for example, flip them over. See this glossy sheen on the back here and not glossy here? There's actually a nice soft felt finish on the back of the scale decks, wooden decks. And that's great. What you're going to end up doing is gluing to this and then gluing your deck into place. For the Pontos and KA and anybody else, their intention is for you to peel this glossy paper off and then stick it onto your deck. Here's the problem with this. 1, you get 1 shot basically at doing this. You get to peel it off, stick it in a position, and I hope you got it right. There's no moving it around. The other problem with it is to test fit it, you need to cut out all these little details, And the KA plastic backing is not so bad, but the one that comes with Pontos is very thick, and it's very difficult to cut out this detail and then stick it, well, not stick it, but lay it on your deck to test fit it in case you do need to trim or do a little bit of sanding. All these kits might need a little bit of touch up here and there to make sure it fits. You got to do that with the plastic backing on. The other problem is this adhesive, while it is insanely strong and you get one shot at putting it on, it's probably going to fail anywhere in between a month and a year from now. And what I mean by fail is you'll be looking at your model all proud, and one day you'll notice that it's lifting, or that it lifted up in the middle like this, or it's got a bubble in the middle of the deck, and you'll be like, what happened? The adhesive just doesn't last in the long run. So we're going to go ahead and address how to fix that, and we're going to talk about it using the scale decks piece. Basically what we're going to do is, for the scale deck piece, because you don't have that backing on it, you cut it out, you apply it to your deck piece, you test fit it, make sure you're happy with how it works, and then you glue it all up. And you're going to use, I recommend, in so scale decks, using Gorilla wood glue. If you don't have this wood glue available in your country, your standard Type Bond 3, basically any wood glue should work just fine for you. But this is the stuff, especially if you're here in America, go ahead and just pick up a bottle of this at your local hardware store and use this stuff. Nora's going to show you how to install this decking, because she's never ever done this before, ever. And if she can do it, you can do it. Okay, so here's Nora. She's got some pieces. After I was explaining to her that, hey, you're going to go ahead and glue this on. And she's like, what?
Yeah. So actually, okay, so we were talking about this over dinner. Yes, we discussed models over dinner. And he had mentioned this. he had actually mentioned this in the past and talked about this with one of his other builds. I honestly don't remember which one. But when he told me that I was going to be doing this, I will honestly tell you, I was terrified. And I thought, he explained to me that we were going to be using the other decking, what's it called, please?
Scale decks.
Scale decks. We were going to use scale decks, and we weren't going to have to use this plastic backing. But I thought, what if that's what you're working with? That's, we have to talk about it. We should address it, because that's a lot to deal with. And for someone like myself, if he was going to make me do this, I thought, how am I going to remedy this? This is nuts. To peel this backing off and get one shot at it and hope that it's right.
And you invested in these kits.
Yeah, this is huge. And I know what you guys, and I know what people pay for these little, decking kits and all the extras that go into these model builds. And, I think it's easy to think outside the box and come up with these crazy ideas when you're not used to using this and going straight to the things that are maybe available in the model shops or, online, the model stores. And so I suggested putting a backing on it, taking off the shiny stuff. And one of these, I honestly don't know which one is which. He pointed them out to see how reflective they are. But if you can see, this one's even shinier than this one. This plastic is like crazy thick, and I would not want to have to cut through it and risk damaging my decking while I'm applying it to my model. And so I thought, what if you peel the back off and stick it to something that's thin enough that you can still glue down and stick to your ship? So that's the idea that I came up with, and Ben measured these, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you got here?
Okay, so I have, this is gift tissue, just ordinary gift wrapping tissue that you would stick in a gift box or gift bag, but it's black. It's what I had, but I thought it'd be great because you can actually see it through the decking. We'll get back to it. This is actually, this was another thin tissue that occurred to me. It's a, for toilet seats. So you can get these on Amazon if you opt to get the little toilet seat covers.
Or go to the bathroom.
And it's super
in a public place.
Oh, Ben. So it's really super thin, again. And then we used regular toilet tissue. And so I'll go over each one of these. This one you can actually see, I don't know if you want to zoom on this.
Sure.
You can actually see the little bit of black tissue through that planking, which I think is really cool. if you want to go for that effect. Does this have clear coating or no?
No.
It's okay. So this doesn't have anything on it, and you can see the little bit of black through the decking, which I think is a really cool effect. This cuts super easy with a nice sharp X-Acto knife.
Yep.
I just peeled off the back, stuck it to it, and it cut really, see, this is the edge that I cut, so it's really super nice and straight. This one is the toilet seat cover, which again is just super duper thin. If your girlfriend, wife, sister, somebody has beauty blotters, they're called beauty blotters, this will do the exact same thing. It's just a super duper thin tissue. This one also cut very easily and is very thin, so it's like not even having anything there. This one, not so hot. I put this on here, tried to cut it, and it just dragged, and that was with a sharp knife. So this one ripped, and it's just atrocious. I don't recommend toilet paper. I would go with either the little toilet seat covers or gift tissue, and gift tissue comes in a lot of colors. I had black, we went with black. I thought it would be a cool effect to see through the decking, but even like gold, if you're going for like a warm kind of oaky tone on your decking, I'm sure would show through there. Like you can see the difference when it's on the green mat as opposed to when it's on the just the desk.
Yep.
So you're gonna see your tissue through that paper. And Ben also measured these.
Yeah, so because I was concerned about thickness, the gift wrapping paper works out to about 1/1000 of an inch or 0.01 mil. The toilet seat paper, same thing. And then the toilet paper, yeah, I actually measured at 4,000, so it was a lot thicker than I thought it would be, although it does have more of the fuzzy consistency. The idea here that Nora nailed out is you want to be able to stick your deck to this, and now it's like the scaled decks.
Right, and so
back.
with the tissue backing, you're gonna peel this off, you're gonna stick it to the tissue, which I just stuck it straight down. I would maybe lay it like that and then just lay the tissue right over it and just make sure it's nice and flat, or the other way. I think either way would work, but what's going to happen is you're not going to be dealing with that insanely sticky backing that gives you zero working time. So you've got the tissue stuck to it, you cut out all of your little cutouts, which I know are insanely tiny, and there's a lot of them. And then you're going to put your glue on that, and you're going to put your glue on your deck, and you're going to be able to work that piece. You're not committed to, here goes.
Yeah, good luck. So the only comment I want to make when Nora and I were discussing this over dinner is make sure whatever material you pick is legit paper that doesn't have anything waxy on it. You don't want anything to get in between the wood glue soaking through and getting to the wood deck. That's the idea.
Right,
here.
because I will tell you, there are heavier, like if you just have gift tissue laying around for gift bags or gift boxes, there are some that are kind of heavy. They are waxy. They've got glitter or doodads in them. But yeah, you definitely can't have the waxy paper. You want it to just be plain old thin tissue like this.
All right, sounds good. Let's move on to gluing a deck on, right?
Yeah. All right, full disclosure, I am nervous as a hooker in church, but here goes.
While I apply the glue, I'll share another juicy tidbit about a renowned passenger in today's episode of Tales from the Titanic. John Jacob Astor IV was not only the richest passenger on the Titanic, he was one of the wealthiest men in the world. Although he was heir to a vast real estate and fur trading fortune, Astor was something of a dilettante who wrote a fiction novel, A Journey in Other Worlds, and patented several inventions including a bicycle brake and something called a vibratory disintegrator. I wasn't brave enough to Google that one. In summer of 1910, following an acrimonious divorce from Anna Lowell Willing, the mother of his first two children, Astor met Madeline Force in Bar Harbor, Maine. She was only 18. Their whirlwind courtship led to marriage in September 1911, spurring condemnation from the Astors and society at large. January of 1912, in an attempt to escape critical eyes, they traveled to Europe on the Olympic. They were accompanied by their beloved Airedale, Kitty, and their friend Margaret Brown. While on holiday, Madeline became pregnant. They cut their trip short when she started suffering from severe morning sickness and booked first-class passage on the Titanic, departing from Cherbourg, France. On the night of April 14th, Madeline had fallen ill and retired to her cabin early. When she was awakened by a jolt, her husband was quick to reassure her, then proceeded to the bridge where Captain Smith informed him they'd struck an iceberg. Astor returned to his wife, fit her with a life vest, and brought her on deck, where he helped her into lifeboat number 4. Astor asked Second Officer Charles Lightoller if he could accompany his wife, and Lightoller refused. Lifeboat number 4 was lowered at 1:45 a.m. Both Astor and his beloved dog went down with the ship. On April 22nd, Astor's body was found floating by the recovery ship McKay Bennett. In the span of a year, Madeline was a bride, widow, and an heiress, having inherited $100,000 and a $5 million trust fund after her husband's death. Ah, but there was a catch. John Jacob's will stipulated that if his wife remarried, she would lose the trust fund. Love triumphed over money, at least for a little while. Madeline married her childhood sweetheart, William Carl Dick, on June 22, 1916. They had 2 sons together, but the couple divorced in 1933. Just 4 months later, Madeline found herself in love again, this time with a handsome 24-year-old Italian boxer by the name of Enzo Fiormonte, who repeatedly demanded money from her and beat her mercilessly when she refused. They divorced in 1938. In a state of depression, Madeline died in Palm Beach on March 27, 1940. The official cause of death was heart failure, but her closest friends suspected an overdose of sleeping pills, either accidentally or intentionally. She was 47 years old, the same age as John Jacob Astor IV when he went down on the Titanic.
Okay, when you've got all of your glue on both pieces, take it and curl it upwards and inwards just a little bit like that, so that contact is made with the center.
Okay, sorry. So the camera on the other card filled up, and Nora's picking back up here. She was saying you start off by putting the piece in the middle.
The center, making sure the center makes contact first, and then lining everything up, making sure that your edges are all lined up completely, right?
Yep.
And this is like a really good... And then just start pressing.
Yep, start in the center just like that. Yeah, and press down with your fingers. So there's no need to weigh everything down like we were talking about in previous videos. If you start with your fingers and work your way out, you'll feel that you've pressed it down and made solid contact everywhere. And once you've done that, you're good.
I don't think I've ever done such a good job gluing anything down, because there's like no excess coming out anywhere. That's why you start just a little at a time and add more as you go, because you don't want all of that excess coming out and making a mess everywhere. And I can tell as I'm running my fingers from the inside out like this deck isn't going anywhere. And something I learned, I might be preaching to the choir, but something that I learned that I never knew until I met Ben was that wood glue dries harder than wood. Like, this isn't going anywhere.
No.
This deck's going to be on this piece of plastic long after I'm gone.
Yep.
This is not going to lift.
And so Nora did a really nice job here. What she was talking about, we'll just do like right in here, like these holes. You don't want the glue excess coming out of there. In fact, if you have some, you should try and wipe it off, because we do want it clear for when we install our plastic pieces, and she nailed it.
Note, I don't have any.
Yeah, you don't have any.
Never had one lesson.
Not one lesson. That's right. Nailed it. Okay, we're going to sort out the camera storage issue on the other one, and then let's just throw it up on the back of the ship so we can take a look at it, right?
All right.
Sounds good.
Sorry we had technical difficulties. I hope that this still all ties in together well and makes sense. So here is the attached wood deck to the kit deck. We're going to drop that in just to take a look at it and see how it looks. Voila. There you go. If anyone has any suggestions on how to better this process, or any suggestions about what I talked about with the tissue backings and things like that, to make it a little easier for anyone installing this type of decking, go ahead and drop your comments below, because they will be helpful for everyone watching and reading. So that's it. Ciao for now from the Midwest Model Shop.
So when you're ready, go ahead.
I thought you were going to say.
Oh. All right.
Can't work under these conditions.
Terrible. We'll grab our note.
So sorry we had some technical.
We need outtakes. We need outtakes.